Well, we have a little bit of rain going on out there, and that's the way it's going to be as we go through the evening, overnight tonight, and into the day tomorrow. A little bit of a breeze, but this is really not a big storm right here, and it's also one that is kind of falling apart as we go through the overnight tonight, right? Still got a good rotation with it. You'll see that in a second. Here's a look at some of the breeze out there, or lack thereof. For most of us, we're not seeing much of anything. So the yellow number is going to be your wind gust. The white number is kind of a sustained wind. And as we move out statewide, you can see it does pick up as you get closer toward Fred there. All right, so a severe threat for tonight. Yeah, there's a low end level 1. It goes to a 2 as you get into southwest Georgia, into Florida. And if you look at it and you think, well, that's a kind of a weird looking map right there, it does extend on up toward the north and east tomorrow. The reason why it's where it is it's not so much the center of that storm, it's that outer banding that you're going to see. And there's going to be a training effect as we go through the overnight into the day tomorrow, with that outside edge, just the dirty side of the storm where you can sometimes get a little brief spin up. Luckily, knock on sheetrock, we haven't had any tornado warnings south Georgia or even in the panhandle of Florida that I've seen, unless I missed one. So there's a look at the radar shot, just some light stuff. It does start to get steadier once you get on over mainly west of 75. It's just definitely not heavy rain, but it's more than just these little sprinkles that we've had. And you can see it getting a little bit closer in. So anywhere from Cordele on up toward Vienna and Unadilla, starting to see a little bit of a heavier batch. Clearly the heaviest stuff is out of reach here from Cuthbert to Albany, rotating around the actual center of the storm. But again, this area through here is where you would see, if you're going to see some little pockets of rotation. Notice how this looks a little squirrelier than this does over here. So this is where your thunderstorms are on that outside edge, and all of this has to move up as we go through tonight and through the day tomorrow. But some flood warnings, that's normal, right around the eye of the storm. The winds have come down, which makes sense. You have a storm that's on land now, so its job now is to weaken and fall apart, down from 50 mile per hour winds to 40 on this advisory here. So just more and more falling apart. That's the job as we go through the overnight, and eventually just an area of low pressure by tomorrow morning. But still enough to bring some rain, a little bit of a breeze, and then maybe a couple of little spin ups here. But again, we haven't seen much of that. I'm not looking for a whole lot of that. This is basically, I don't want to say this is a non-event, but this is definitely one that is not, we've seen worse than this. How about that? Here's a look at future view as we go through tonight. This starts to continue to swirl on around. Notice this is that little outside edge band right there. So this is overnight toward tomorrow morning. If we were going to see something that rotates, it would be in those little bands right there, and you can see them moving on off as we go toward tomorrow morning, mid-morning. I think by the time we get into lunchtime tomorrow, that's it. Most of this is already pushed away. We're going to have some wraparound breeze a little bit, but nothing we can't handle. Maybe a couple of sprinkles there, and then it all rolls away. After that, no shock, we go right back to the normal summertime pattern, just a pop-up shower or storm as we get into Wednesday afternoon, and it'll roll like that as we go on through the rest of this week. All right, so let's look at the winds again, and you can see obviously closer to where the center of the storm is, 20 to 30 plus mile an hour wind gusts the farther south and west you are. Once we get into tomorrow morning, that may include more of us here, but 30 miles per hour, that's not a big deal. And as we go more on into tomorrow afternoon, the axis of the storm is passing by, and those winds will start to kind of die down as we get on into tomorrow night. So again, as I mentioned, the wind, not that big of a deal. The rainfall, not huge numbers, and it's mainly the farther west you go. You're seeing maybe getting upwards to an inch and a half, 2.5 inches, depends on where some of these bands kind of line up. So there's a 7-day. It is, well, after tomorrow, Fredless. And then we go low 90s with a heat index over 100, yada, yada, yada. We're back to that kind of thing again. And the rain chances are still up, though, for the next few days with tropical moisture still in place. So we're going to continue to watch it through the overnight into tomorrow morning.